Happy New Year everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's January the 1st and traditionally on January the 1st I like to sow my first seeds of the year. So I've got a little pile here and I'll just go through what I'm going to be sowing. So first of all I'm going to be sowing some begonia chance and flamingo F1. Yeah, nice kind of pinky red vibrant colour there. Obviously I'm going to be sowing an awful lot of antirrhinums, so I've got antirrhinum Lucky Lips, grown those before, very nice. Antirrhinum double Madam Butterfly mixed. These got really nice blooms, double blooms, so I'm going to be growing those. Antirrhinum Royal Bride, which I have grown, well I grew last year. They really pop in the garden, so I'm looking forward to growing those ones again. You'll have to excuse the sound of the dishwasher and the sound of my cat. It keeps going back and forth from the bloody living room. Probably going to sow some antirrhinum Twilight mix. I normally grow a few of those. I'm going to try salvias again. These were easy to germinate last year, but getting them to survive the onslaught of pests like slugs and stuff was a bit of a nightmare last year. I'm going to try again though. My usual chilies, although this year I'm not growing Ring of Fire, I'm going to be growing Hot Lemon. I grew these ones, or Peruvian lemon drops, a couple of years ago, and they're really nice. Quite hot, but a nice slight citrusy aftertaste, and they make great chili flakes as well, so I'm going to be growing those. Going to be growing some hellebores as well. Now these ones, I could be in for the long haul with these. They can take up to 18 months to germinate, so I'm going to do a little tray of those, keep them in the cold frame and just see what happens. And then my friend from Grow Tropical MK has sent me a few seeds, well, quite a lot of seeds in fact. I'm going to be starting a couple of those today. I'm going to be starting Pseudopanax ferox, only because it sounded like one of the simpler ones to get started. I mean, a lot of the ones he sent me need scarifying and or cold stratifying, but that one doesn't apparently, so I'm going to start that one. And this aloe striatulata, whatever that is, apparently I can just sow that one, so I'm going to do that today as well. So I've got all the gear ready. I've got 5 flats full with seed sowing compost, and then just behind here I've got 4 little trays for some of the other seeds. I've also got a ruler, and then you'll notice I've got this little glass of water and this little this little stick basically, and the reason why I'm going to be using this is that I can then sow individual seeds into each cell. I'll show you how I'll do that in a moment. So I'm going to start off with the antirrhinum double Madam Butterflies. This pack's got an average of 60 seeds in. We've got 40 individual cells there, so really I can't be too liberal with the seeds, so I need to kind of try and sow 1 per cell really. So the way I do it, I just tap the seeds, or tap the packet so the seeds settle to the bottom, rip that open, and then just carefully open up the whole pack, tapping it as a little bit as you go, and then that should settle the seeds to the bottom. Just be careful doing this, because I've had it where I've opened it too aggressively and the seeds have flung out everywhere, so that'll probably do. And you can see there's not really that many seeds in there. So these seeds need to be sown on the surface, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to dip this skewer, this wooden skewer, in the water, tapping off the excess, and then you can literally just get the seed like that and it sticks to the end, and then all you need to do is just kind of wipe it in the compost. Although this particular seed sowing mix is a bit sticky, so I'm hoping that will have worked. I'll just keep doing that. So those are all the Madam Butterflies sown. What I need to do now is, very importantly, label the tray, because it's very easy to get muddled up. So if I put anti-rhinum, double Madam Butterfly, double Madam B will do. Pop it in there. Now obviously I've got a little sprayer here to wet the compost, however this isn't the ideal solution. I normally have a proper pump sprayer, but that seems to have gone missing, so I have to use this. I just want to make sure it's nicely moist. Don't have to go overboard, just enough to kind of wet the top layer of the compost. And then once I see germination, I'll water underneath. So these trays here don't have holes in the bottom, so I can literally just use a jug, pour a bit of water in there, and it bottom waters, and then you don't risk damaging the fragile seedlings by spraying on the top of them. Right, so all I need to do is whack a humidity dome on, ready to take upstairs to my little grow room. So I'm going to get on and fill the rest of these larger trays, and I'll be back when I get to sowing my chilli seeds. So I've sowed all my anti-rhinums, and I've just moved on to the begonias. And they come in this little vial, but the seeds are absolutely microscopic. You can just sort of see them right at the bottom there. It's going to be a challenge sowing those ones, I think. I think what I'll do is I'll empty out the packet onto a bit of tissue paper so that I can hopefully see them. Oh my god, they are so small. The difficulty with seeds this small is that, one, you've got to try and sow them individually, but it's knowing whether you've actually got one in the cell or whether it's just fallen off. It's going to be a challenge, this one. Alright, let me just try this technique with the water. I'm a little bit concerned now that maybe okay, that's worked. So that's worked. I think it's going to be quite a tricky process, this one. I've got to use the water tension to pick each individual seed up, but without then soaking into the tissue paper. And then I kind of let a droplet which contains the seed form at the bottom, and just tap the end of it, and it should then drop the water droplet with the seed in with it. That's the theory anyway. To be honest, I haven't really sown seeds this small for a very long time. That's the thing, you just can't tell whether the seed's gone in the cell or not. Yes, this is really quite difficult. So what I'm trying to do now is just pick each individual seed up using the very slight damp tip, and then using my dry fingers take the seed off the end and then twirl it around. I mean, you can't even feel if the seed's dropped off your fingers. Well, yeah, that was particularly difficult, that one. I guess time will tell whether I've actually successfully sown some of those. Give it a few days and we'll know. So I'm just going to label that up as Begonia, Chance and Flamingo. So I'll put that at the front there. So these 2 rows I've sown with the begonia seeds, and then I'm probably going to do the rest of this area here. These 3 rows here, probably going to put some salvias in. So I'm going to get on and do that now. You can seriously see the difference in seed size with the salvias. So these are a much easier seed to sow. Right, I'm just going to wet those and I'll move on to my chilli seeds, I think. So sowing the chilies couldn't really be any easier, to be honest. So I get my ruler and just going to make a little trench from one side there, another one about there. And the seeds are nice and large. I think it's roughly about 10 in a pack. Get them all out. There's 1 or 2. Oh, hang on. There's always 1 or 2 left in the packet. We'll sort that out in a moment. So I'm going to put 5 in each row. So 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another 1, 2, 3, and then there's a couple more in the pack. 4, 5, and then it's just a simple case of just kind of covering over the trench you just made. I like to flatten the compost down, and then just give that a nice spritz. And chilies like a bit of warmth to germinate. Not too precious about light straight away, so these will be going in the heated propagator. So next up we've got Helleborus or hellebores. This is a bit of an experiment for me, never grown them before. Now these ones can take up to 18 months to germinate. I think they need like a period of cold really to set them off. So they're well known apparently for being slow to germinate. So potentially these might not even germinate until summer 2027 actually. So could be in it for the long haul. But I thought I'd give it a go because they look like hellebores. Let's see what the seeds are like. They sound like they're reasonably good sized seeds actually. Oh yeah, nice. So that's what they look like. So I'm just going to sprinkle them on the surface of this compost. Now the packet says to cover with grit or vermiculite. Now unfortunately I have neither of those things. So I'm just going to use a bit of Koya seed compost just to dust over the top. And then these, they're not going into my grow room. These are just going to sit tight in the cold frame outside until eventually, hopefully, they'll germinate. I just need to smooth that over. But yeah, like I said, it's a bit of an experiment. Who knows what will happen? Hopefully, we'll get a couple to germinate at some point. I mean, I'm hopeful that because it's January, if we have a bit more cold weather, that might trigger them to germinate. I don't really know, but whatever. I'll keep them in the cold frame, and we'll see what happens with that one. I've sown a small tray with some seeds that my mate from Grow Tropical MK sent to me. So we've got 2 Pseudopanix ferox seeds in there, and some Aloe stratulata. You can just see 1 seed, 2, 3 over there somewhere. I'm kind of going in blind with these ones really, because I've never grown them before. They're kind of tropical style plants. So yeah, apparently the germination can be kind of erratic. I'm thinking I'm just going to put them in the heated propagator, see what happens really, to be honest. But yeah, fingers crossed that something will happen, even if I get one plant. I'm quite interested in the Pseudopanix ferox actually. So my friend also sent me loads of other tropical inspired plants. Lots of cannas, eucomis, all kinds of weird and wonderful things. Now I've read up about quite a lot of them. They need sort of scarification and boiling in water and all kinds of strange things to get them to germinate. So I'm going to do some more research on that and do another sowing in the next few days, and try and get these on the grow. But for now, I'm just going to go and position all my trays where they need to be, and then I think I'm done for the day. Well, I've got all my trays set up here now. So I've got my heated propagator with the chilies, some antirrhinums, and the Pseudopanix ferox and the aloe in there. I thought I'd give them a little bit of bottom heat to see if that helps them germinate. And then under here, all my antirrhinums, they don't really need much heat, but I'll put them under my grow light because they do like a bit of light to germinate. Right, I'll just get this all switched on then. Get the propagator on and my grow light. There we go. And there we are. So it begins for another year. And now there's my hellebores in the cold frame with all my cuttings and stuff. Looks like I've got some extreme gall mite on my fuchsia garden news, unfortunately. Never mind. But yeah, as I said, these might take a while to germinate, so there we are. So January the 1st is shaping up to be a bit of a gloomy showery day, so I'm going to get in and get myself a cup of tea. So again, Happy New Year everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.